Hearing none at this point, please register your vote.
Wait just a minute. That location is the second offense, is that correct? Is that right?
The model 3 is the second offense. The first offense was in 2009, trial was 6, this is the first offense.
Okay. Gotcha.
Please enter your vote. 4 yeas, no nays. Just so you will know, for anyone that's sitting out there, this is the first time this has come before this board. I don't know, have you had it come before you before?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we think.
I have not, so that's why we're just skitishing around here.
If we might, Mayor, let's let him on his next.
That's right, you are bylaw number 6.
Let's let the officer there explain it to us.
Basically, the same principles, the same day, same procedures occurred. This day, this particular secondary location that Mr. Taylor owns will be the bylaw number 6, located at 710 Moorlock Road. Again, it was the underage sale of beer violation of ordinance 8-213-4.
Is this the first offense?
Yes.
On this location?
That is correct.
Okay.
Is your employees that did this still work for you at that location?
No, sir.
I will say this, this is very, very, very serious. As you can well imagine, if there had been an accident, someone lives been taken of it, been sold to a minor, it would be a sad situation. So we are taking it serious. And it's important that your people be trained and know what the regulations are, and it's your responsibility.
Absolutely. May I make a statement?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to vote to uphold state law. Whatever the law of the state of Tennessee are, I'm all for it. But I do find it hard to send a man to Afghanistan at 18 years old to kill and leave 3 children home and can't buy a beer. But I'm opposed to the law.
Good. Are there any, at this point, we will have to entertain a motion.
Let me make a motion on this. This is first offense, this location.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we do the same thing we did on the last one, set make it $1,000 from that location because it's first offense instead of 15.
Can you still 30 days?
Yes.
30 days.
One or the other.
So the motion is a civil suspension of 30 days for a civil penalty of $1,000 for violation of bylaw number 6. All right, that's the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilmember Jinks. Is there any discussion by council at this point? Hearing none, please enter your vote. 4 yeas, no nays. Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you.
The next location on the list will be the Buffalo Trail BP, located at 1736 Buffalo Trail. Again, the violation at this location would be the sale of beer to an underage person. Violation of ordinance 8-213-4. Back at the same time, at this location, back in April of 2009, this body took action against this location. However, the owner has changed since that time. You can view that as you may, but it's a new beer permit holder, so technically it'd be the first violation for this new beer permit holder since the last violation.
I'm sure that that's been discussed with the fire. They should uphold or go with the rules of your training for the people that's going to set it.
That is correct.
I'm sure that they know that when they took ownership.
Yes, sir.
Leniency is not one of our favorites. Punishment is not our second favorite either, but just to get the attention that we don't want this to happen, and we cannot sit here as a beer board and continue to see this happen. We've got to work with these people and stop this teenage and these underage sales. It just don't work. It's a deadly thing.
I can say say this, I do know that prior to now, Captain Letterman met with every beer permit holder. He goes over the beer ordinances and extensively, and the beer permit holders, I believe, signed a form stating that they've had that meeting and understand the ordinances. I can also say that since this last operation that we did back in 2009, at that point in time, we had 16 violations, and with only 5 violations with this operation, I believe that we're working toward that goal.
Real good.
Do you know, Corporal Bean, if there's someone here from Buffalo Trail BP to address this?
I do not know, I don't believe there is.
Is there someone from Buffalo Trail BP here to address this? There's not? Yeah, I'll take a motion.
And this is this gentleman's first violation, is that correct?
That is correct. This beer
Okay,
permit
I make a motion that we impose give him the option of a $1,000 civil penalty or surrender his license for 30 days, whichever one they choose to do.
Well, we have a motion for suspension of license for 30 days or a civil penalty of $1,000 for Buffalo Trail BP 1736 Buffalo Trail. We have a second. We have a second from Councilmember Jeets. Is there any discussion by council? All right, we have a second. No discussion? Please enter your vote. Four yeas, no nays on the 30-day suspension and $1,000 fine for 7 days.
You will serve him with that notice?
Yes, sir. It's already, it will be taken care of first thing in the morning, and there will be a certified mail sent to each individual location that gives them the information regarding what actions were taken and their options from those actions.
He's got 7 days to either pay the fine or relinquish his license.
That's correct.
When you issue the citations, I know you've got another coming up, I just have a question, clarification. Do you know the age of the minor that is buying?
Yes. We actually use good citizen volunteers to do that. They're under our control at all times.
Normally, what is that age? Does it vary? Do you use it?
It may vary, anything between the ages of 18 and 21.
Okay, very good. Okay, Corporal Dean, next one is Fast Stop Food Market, number 5.
That's correct. Fast Stop Food Mart number 5, located at 2431 East Andrew Johnson Highway. It'll be the same violation, sell of beer to an underage person. Violation ordinance 8-213-4, and this is the first violation for this location.
Is there someone here to address this?
Hey, good afternoon. My name's Steve Isaacs. I'm the president and co-owner of Pioneer Patrol. We've got 28 Fast Stop Markets, 7 of them are in Morristown. And I don't deny, of course, that this happened. But we do try to prevent it. I can't remember the last time I've been before a beer board. It's been a long, long time. We actually do our own stings. We have a company called Spies in Motion, which is owned by highway patrolman or an ex-highway patrolman out of Knox County. And every quarter, we sting every one of our markets. If we find that they do sell to a minor, this particular instance is not a minor used. It's someone that is 21. It's illegal to use a minor to buy beer, even if it's in a sting. But we do it, he has a private company that does it. They don't know him. If that person does not card, every person should be carded in the state of Tennessee. If they don't card, then we fire that clerk immediately. If there is a city, a government agency that performs a sting, the police department, we fire the manager. Okay? Now, and I talked to Gary about this. I did not know this happened until about a month ago. It did happen. The letter went to the store. But the manager knew this was going to get fired, so they didn't tell anybody. So immediately we fired the clerk and the manager. Okay? So anyhow, we're doing everything we can. And like I say, I may be before a beer board in some other towns because we're all over East Tennessee and got a few in West North Carolina. But it's much more infrequent now because we are so strict. When the manager thinks they're going to lose their job, they're as concerned as I am. So there's a lot we're doing. We did make a mistake. The cashier either made a mistake or did it purposely, who knows. But in any event, they knew they would lose their job and the manager should lose theirs too. But hopefully we remedied that and I won't have to come before the beer board again. So I hope you'll consider that.
Mr. Isaac, I want to compliment you on the program that you have people check on your facility. I think that's very, very good. Much to the heart, I think, of the council too. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we impose the same fine, or not fine, but civil penalty of $1,000, or they choose to surrender their license for 30 days in this particular store. That's about 3.5.
We have a motion from Councilmember Vivens for a suspension of 30 days for civil penalty of $1,000 for pass-through market number 5. Is there a second? There is a second by Councilmember Hicks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please enter your vote. 4 yeas, no nays. Next item, Corporal Dean is Little Dandy Market.
That's correct. The fifth and final location is Little Dandy Market, located at 1635 South Cumberland Street. And again, the violation was underage selling beer to person under the age of 21, violation of ordinance 8-213-4. This particular location falls into the same category as the third. There was a prior violation at this location. However, ownership is changed and it is a new beer permit holder, so it would be the first violation for this current beer permit holder. They have written this. I don't think so.
Is there anyone here from Little Dandy Market at 1635 South Cumberland? All right, there's no one here, so at this time we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we impose a civil penalty of $1,000 for a 30-day surrender of their license for Little Dandy Market, 1635 South Cumberland.
There's a motion on the floor for 30-day suspension of license or a $1,000 penalty to be paid within 7 days to Little Dandy Market, 1635 South Cumberland. We have a motion from Councilmember Vivens. We have a second from Councilmember Jinks. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, please enter your vote. Four yeas, no nays. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment.
Thanks for good job.
At this time, we will have the city administrator's report.
Mayor, the first item I want to discuss is the budget adjustment that's in your package. You'll note that I've made a transfer of $2,000 within the police department. That's to cover drug screens for people in the department. It is basically an accounting term to align with the new chart of accounts. The other thing I want to report is that this afternoon, Mr. Clark and I had a telephone interview with Moody's in New York concerning bond rating for our soon-to-be issued sewer bonds. The discussion went very well, and I believe we're on track to get a rating by Monday, and we're still on track for our timeline. So that is moving forward very well. I'll let the audience know that our agenda has a brief executive session to discuss matters with the city attorney. Before we adjourn, we may return to consider action after that. And then following the meeting, we have a very brief work session concerning some road closures that we have to brief council about. But it should be a very brief work session following the meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you, Tony. At this time, we have item number 11, which is communications and petitions. This is a time that if someone wants to address the council on any item, they may do so. They will come forward to the microphone, state your name and address for the minutes, direct your comments to city council, not to the audience or staff, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes so others will have an opportunity to speak. At this time, the floor is open for communications and petitions on any item.
I'm Deborah Williams. I live at 617 West 2nd North Street, and I just want to thank the council for their support of the opening of the new dog park. We had a nice ribbon cutting out there. I know Craig was there, and I appreciate all the work he's done. I think this council, this is something new for our community, and I think it's great. I think it's going to be very well received, and I think there's going to be a lot of support. I have been there with one dog. I can't get my husband to go because he's afraid one of our dogs would embarrass the family. But soon I hope for all of us to be there. But I know I've heard a lot of good comments, and I appreciate the council for doing something that's just a little bit different in our Parks and Rec department, and for supporting Craig and Mr. Cox in their efforts.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? I'll tell you. I went out to the dog park. I don't have a dog, and it was great.
Hi, Evan McKinley, 115 East 3rd North Street. Two things. One, I really wish that you all would put like a digital countdown clock here, because the screen that we're supposed to be looking at for the 3 minutes is behind us, unless you want to put a screen up here or something. At any rate, I think it would be helpful for us to be able to easily see it. The second thing is, I wasn't planning to speak about anything, but then I watched this whole thing about the beer board, and I'm not a prohibitionist. I'm not some holy roller against drinking, and I don't mean to be disrespectful by saying holy roller because I'm religious. But what disturbs me is simply this. Ask yourself, if you really want to make a statement, and you really want, and you really mean what you all just said about it's serious and it shouldn't happen and all this stuff. If you really want to make a statement, ask yourself, why do these companies want to pay a fine versus going through a 30-day suspension? Well, it seems to me the only answer is because it's cheaper for them. It costs them less money to pay a fine than to do without beer sales for 30 days. Otherwise, they just do without the beer sales and save the money. So what I'm getting at is, in reality, I know not legally, but for all practical purposes, this is you all giving them a way to have a legal bribe. It's like, okay, remember how the mob and all used to do, like, okay, we'll protect your business if you pay us a bribe and then we'll let you operate. Well, you're letting them operate by paying a legal fine. And they're still in business to make money, and obviously they're making more money. So my point is that if you really want to make a statement, get them where it hurts. Don't give them an option of a fine. And I'm not on some crusade about this, but I just think it's, to be blunt, I think it's hypocritical that you say you want to make a statement and then you let them buy it out on the cheap. And if nothing else, ask yourself, what if it were a family member or a friend that was injured or even killed by somebody buying beer underage and out driving around? Because especially the younger people are the ones who are on the cell phones the most. But putting all that aside, anybody can have an accident when they're drinking. And I just think you all should consider not giving them the cheaper version of a penalty of paying a fine. Make them go without the license for a while. Get them where it hurts. That's all I got to say.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any?
Well, one solution to that would be simply to have a suspension or a revocation. Another might be to convince the state legislature to raise those amounts that can be assessed as a civil penalty. so there would be more incentive to avoiding having those incidents happen.
State sets the fine, not us, is that correct?
I'm sorry.
The state sets the amount of suspension.
State law sets the maximum civil penalty, that's correct.
We don't.
You do not.
We just enforce it.
That's right.
But now, we have no limit to the suspension times, correct?
That's correct.
We could indefinitely suspend.
No, if you suspend, it would have to be for a particular period of time, but you also have revocation.
Okay, yeah, revocation. Okay. Did that answer your question, Carl?
Yes.
Are there any other communications or petitions come before this council? All right, seeing none, you gotta be fast.
Sorry. Brian Sutherland, 700 Buell Street, Morristown. I'd like to commend the council on their following through with at least some guidelines and the penalties for the beer violations. I do respect that. However, I'm strongly opposed to alcohol in any form. It would be nice if there was none, but I understand folks have rights and things of that nature. So, but I do appreciate enforcing of that law as we could. I would be in favor, as the gentleman had commented, about maybe dropping the fine and getting them where it hurts. And apologize, Mr. Chair, I heard the attorney say that we could impose only a suspension and not a fine if we wanted to, if the council so deemed. But that would be favorable to me. But nonetheless, and also I'd like to comment on the item number, apologize here, number 9, the council's consideration of Mayor Thomas's nomination to the Morristown Utility Commission for 5-year term expiring August 1st, 2016, term expiring George McGuffin. I don't know Mr. McGuffin. At my knowledge, I've probably never met him. I have no reason not to like him, but I would be curious to know why the majority of the council is such in favor of him returning to the Morristown Utilities Board. I'm curious to see if anything may ever arise as to why they're so apt to see him return. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Now, wait a minute before I close this and thank you for your comments. Are there any other comments come before, or petitions come before the council at this time? Seeing none, we will close the communications and petitions section of our meeting. And at this point, I have no comments for this meeting. Do any of the councilmen have anything?
Mayor, I knew I went by too quickly. I do have one other thing, if you'll indulge me, because I need to report. Just to remind the community and council that we had a special call meeting on Monday the 26th at 4 o'clock for the purposes of considering how to manage our municipal airport. At that point in time, if council will show up a little early, we'd like to show off our new 2 new garbage trucks, show them off to the community, and hopefully have a photo op to where you kind of spread the word that those folks have been suffering with old equipment for a very long time, have something a little better to work with. So on Monday, the 26th, a little before that 4 o'clock meeting, we hope to have those trucks here available for public inspection for council to see. So I apologize for leaving that off my early report.
Thank you, Tony. That'd be good. Citizen tribute, be sure to put that in there. We'd like to see a good turnout for that meeting. I really would appreciate that if you guys would do that. At this point, if there's no objections, we are going to adjourn to an executive session, and then we may come back.
Technically speaking, if we would bring that